Today's first question goes to Roana. Roana, please start by telling us a little bit about the process that led to the development of the Maketu Climate Change Adaptation Plan. Why was a plan needed, and how did you go about developing one?
Kia ora no, Murray. We've been having climate change conversations in Maketu for over a decade. And so we had, none of those conversations had really taken in terms of being able to get a group together to start doing something concrete in Maketu. But there was an event a few years ago where we had koiwi or bones falling away from the cliffs, and we had another event, very heavy rainfall with some flooding, and that was like the wake-up call. And I think it's partly because we had those conversations earlier, even though they hadn't taken, that people were more receptive, and we got together and said, look, we need to do something about this. At the same time, we knew that government and councils were starting to get themselves organised around climate change, and there were talks about plans coming out. And Maketu is like every small community. We really like our way of life. We don't like outsiders coming in to tell us what to do. So that was also a bit of an activator to get together and start determining our own future rather than have the inevitable councils come in on consultation on their plans, but instead write our plans, hand it to them and tell them this is how we want to do things in Maketu. So that was the impetus to get going. Around about that same time, our regional council, Bay of Plenty Regional Council, Toi Moana, we worked with them and were successful in securing a small community grant of 15,000, but it was enough to provide a focal point to actually get heads around the table. We chose to run an iwi-led process because that was something else that we felt very strongly about. We didn't want iwi to be an add-on to someone else's plan and someone else's focus. So we started off our process by getting our iwi collective together. Now, again, we won't be unique in this, but we have quite a large number of different iwi who have an interest in Aotearoa. And we got together the ones that were ready and in the right space and had capacity, and we decided to lead out this process. So what we did, Murray, was we decided to run 5 hui wānanga in a short space of time. We wanted to pressure cook this because we knew we needed to get momentum going to get our community activated. But we decided that of those 5 wānanga, the very first one should be iwi only. So that's what we did. We got our iwi together in our wharenui. It was a one-day wānanga, and it was an opportunity for us to talk about climate change, the potential impacts of climate change, get out some of the mamae that we had about it, some of the anger we had about it. Climate change is not a new kaupapa for iwi. It's part of that whole colonisation kaupapa that we've been fighting for generations. We've been telling people that this kind of calamity is going to occur if we don't change the way we do things. No one's listened. So there was a lot of anger. So that first hui was an opportunity for us to really get our heads around how we wanted to lead out this process as iwi. And we were also able to develop a values framework. I'll use the English word for it, a values framework, where we were able to set the values that would underpin the process moving forward. We then moved into our second hui, and the second hui was open to the whole community. And at that second hui, we dubbed it Climate Change 101. We got an external expert. He doesn't like to be called an expert, but he actually was involved with the IPCC for a period of about 10 years in the 2000s, and was one of the authors of their 4th report that ended up going on to be recognised with the Nobel Peace Prize. So he's in our region, Justin Ford Robertson. So we got him in to facilitate that second hui. So it was Climate Change 101. And the idea of that was to get everyone on the same spectrum in terms of their knowledge and understanding of climate change. We then went into our third one and our third hui. And at that hui, we invited all the agencies that had an interest in climate change or had data in climate change or were developing plans in climate change that encompassed Maketu. So we've got 3 councils that we work with in Maketu, 1 regional council, 2 city councils. in a number of government departments, and they brought their data to us and their strategies or plans, or wherever they were at with their plans to us, because we simply didn't have the arms, legs, time or patience to go around all those agencies and collect all that information. So we got them to come to us, and there's some pretty heated discussions. Many of the locals wanted to have a crack at the councils on things like drainage and cemeteries and things like that. But we got through that wānanga, and we had a good kai afterwards, and a lot of good relationships were developed that have held us in good stead as we've moved along this process. The fourth of the 5 wānanga was our strategic planning day, and that's more what you would see in a typical strat kind of a session. We had the whiteboards out, we had the post-its, we had the breakout sessions, the plenary sessions. So in that fourth session, by then we were all on the same page, we all had the data, people felt that they could talk openly about what was worrying them. And we came out with a lot of information, a very large draft document that we then took away, we refined, we took the draft around a few of the opinion leaders around the community, and then we came back to our final session, our 5th wānanga, put it back to our community, and it was signed off. And we had a wonderful celebratory lunch to finish that off. So that was the process that we followed, and we've come out with a plan that's, it's on our website. So yeah, we felt that we did a good job of that.